You're watching WQED Pittsburgh.
I like oysters, lobsters too. I like my tasty butterfish food. When I come home late at night, I get my favorite dish. Fish, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Burriac, you want some seafood, mama?
You want some seafood?
I like that.
I do. I love it. Hi, I'm Chris Fennimore.
And I'm Nancy Polinsky. I sing alto.
And we're back in the kitchen, and this time we are cooking up seafood. The name of the show is Gifts from the Sea. We've got a brand new cookbook that is based on all of the recipes that folks sent in to us. These are their family treasures put together into a book with over 130 recipes.
Every kind of fish imaginable.
Every kind of fish you could imagine. It is the bounty of the sea that we're talking
yes.
about here. And we put it together into a brand new cookbook.
And I love the cover. It's got this big mouth. What is that? A wide mouth? Something or other to go with the wide mouth, big mouth?
That's me. That's the fish. The fish is on the bottom.
Okay.
Anyway, one of the fish that everybody thinks about, the gifts from the sea, is lobster.
Oh, yes.
So I brought in a lobster specialist to cook this recipe. This is my farm-raised son, Joe Fennimore, who's been coming on this show since he was like 18 months old.
He stood on a little stool.
Now he's graduating from high school and headed on to college. So he said he would come on and cook with me. We're going to make a little bit of lobster bisque.
Well,
okay?
Three's a crowd when it comes to the kitchen, so
Okay.
I'm out of here.
All right.
Good to see you, Joseph. Congratulations
see you too.
on your graduation.
All right, Joseph, we're back in the kitchen and we're chugging right along. I've got some pots that are going. They're hot. I'm going to leave you to look after those things. I'm going to do the chopping, as it were. This pot is hot. If you would put, this is 4 tablespoons of butter.
Alrighty.
Butter makes it better.
Is it a stick of butter?
It's not a whole stick. It's a half a stick of butter. And what we're going to do is we're going to soften up some aromatic vegetables as the base of the bisque, if a bisque can have a base. And then, okay, so let's get the heat up on that. Get that nice and hot.
Okay.
And we have some base in the back there. We're going to get that going. This is a shallot that I'm going to use. You could use an onion, but I figured since it was since we're doing lobster, we might as well go for the classy. And actually, a shallot has a slightly different flavor. Although it is in the garlic and onion family, it's a little bit different flavor, and it's a little classier, a little fancier. Now, I'm not worrying about chopping these perfectly uniformly because we're actually going to strain this out afterwards.
Right.
Okay? So all we're doing is making the base for this soup. Let me put this in here. So have you eaten, I don't, here I am, your father. You eat lobster, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have agreed to come on if I didn't. I think past a certain age, I decided that I would eat just about any fish as long as it was hot.
Yeah.
Ranging from octopus to calamari to that squid ink pasta we had over the summer.
Yeah, that's something the little kids probably wouldn't want to have anything to do with. Squid ink pasta. But, but you're very adventurous now. I mean, you eat a lot of stuff. Okay, so we put that in. I put in some garlic. I'm going to get rid of these things here.
Smells good.
Right. And now what I did was I steamed some lobster tails, and I steamed them just for a few minutes because I didn't want them to cook through too much, but I wanted to make it easier to get the lobster meat out of the shells. So that's what I've got here. And now I'm going to take that meat out, put that to the side, and I'm actually going to add these shells right to the pot. Okay? Now, this is where the bisque gets its real flavor. It's from the shells of the lobster.
Really?
Yeah. As you cook that, oh, I'm putting the wrong part in. As you cook that down, the shells will give off, I'm going to break it apart so it gives more surface area. Okay? Right. And when I steamed those lobster tails, I saved the liquid that was underneath the lobster tails. And so I'm going to use this because you don't want to lose any of the flavor that you started cooking with. So I've saved that. Now you've got that, just keep stirring that around. And what you would do is you probably cook this for, 5 or 6 minutes. We're not going to have the luxury of that kind of time. But I'm going to now add 4 tablespoons of flour. And that's going to create the roux, the thickening agent for this soup or bisque. And stir that around pretty good, Joe.
Okay.
Get that going. All right.
Let's see if I can flip this shell over here so that I can get the
flip
flour
the
out.
shells and turn them over and get that all going. Okay. So now I'm going to large say now once you have that all of that flour, it should cook for about a minute or 2. That'll get rid of that floury flavor. You don't have to be shy. Just really stir that around.
I'm just trying to do it without having flying lobster.
No, flying lobsters are great. Yeah. All right. So again, you would cook this until the flour has a chance to lose some of that, but you don't want to cook it so long that you get a brown roux. You want.
Well, and I think we ought to turn the heat down.
No, that's okay. We're cooking fast here.
Okay.
So now you need to start adding the liquid to these things, and I'm going to put back in a cup of that lobster broth that was underneath the steaming of the lobster tails. And of course, you could use whatchamacallit. You could use a whole lobster, but the lobster tails are just so easy to deal with. This is a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. If you put that in, scoop that right in there. Okay.
And I remember we were talking about what the tomato paste does for this particular bisque. You said it wasn't so much a flavoring agent as a visual effect.
Yeah.
Which causes it to seem like it tastes even more like lobster.
Right, because otherwise if it's just white liquid, it's not as, it doesn't look as lobstery. So now I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken stock to that. I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper, blah, blah, blah. A little salt, a little pepper. You cook this for about another 10 or 15 minutes, and then you use this little tool right here. This little baby is called a chinoise, okay? So now you pour that soup into the chinoise, and you crush it down with your spatula until you get all of the liquid out, but you leave all the solids in the top. And what you end up with is this, okay? So let's switch that over and put this over here. Now this is the strained liquid, okay? And I'm going to add to that 2 cups more liquid. This is half and half. Okay, stir that. Let me see what the texture of that is. Okay. Now, the thing about it is that I'm using non-fat half and half. And the reason is, it just seemed to me like that was a lot of fat. It was just like, wow, 2 cups of... So I reduced the recipe. I changed the recipe to use this non-fat half and half. That seems sort of contradictory. I don't know what half is which.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
But it's a nice product because it has the same mouthfeel and has the same properties. It's made from milk. It's not that it's a fake product. It's just made from skim milk and then made thicker. Now I'm going to take the lobster tail and just cut it into nice big chunks. All right.
What do you think about this consistency? Are we good?
Yeah, that's going to be good. And now I'm going to add the meat back in.
Okay.
And I have 2 more flavorings that I'm going to add just at the end as this comes up to temperature. And that is just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And then you can put this in. This is a little bit of
Hot sauce.
hot sauce. You can use any kind of Louisiana hot sauce. You can use Texas Pete. You can use what are some of the other Frank's Red Hot Sauce?
Tapatio,
Cholula. We have only 60 or 70 of those in our house. Okay, all right. So now we got to wait to get that up to speed, and I'm just going to get this, and we got servings, and let's see, how is that?
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, let me feel it. Yeah, that is nice. Okay.
Oops.
I'm spilling a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Flying lobster.
I just want to make sure that it's nice and hot for us, and then we'll have us a little taste. Okay.
Can't wait.
Any other special plans going on for you? You're headed off to college.
I'm headed off to college. I'm going to Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland.
Yeah. All right. I think we're just going to have a little taste of this. We've got to have some with the nice big chunks. Okay. Go. That's
I'll
a
gladly
little taste
take
for
that.
you. And I'm going to have a little taste over here.
Make sure I get a lobster chunk here.
Get a lobster chunk.
Good.
And see if that tastes like lobster bisque. You can taste that hot sauce.
I was going to say, I love the little bite in there. Oh, that is so good.
Yeah. So there it is, lobster bisque. Sort of easy to do, especially if you use the lobster tails. And if you don't have one of those fancy chinois, you can just use a strainer. That's what it really does. It just gets all of those solids out of it so that you get a nice, rich and creamy soup, and that every little bit of lump in your soup is going to be lobster. Thanks, Joe. It's always great to be with you in the kitchen.
Always great to be here.
All right, now that recipe and over 130 more terrific seafood recipes are in our brand new cookbook, and here's how you can get it.